So Alexander Colladin is going to be facing the incumbent for Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, who happens to be joining us now in studio. Let's head over to Troy Hayden, who is standing by with Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes.
The man who's facing Alexander Colladin. Let's talk to Adrian Fontes, Secretary of State. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Very good to be here to talk with you. First of all, this has got to be nice to be in a primary and not worry about a race of your own at this point.
Well, we've been focusing on administering the election, helping the counties get their stuff done, so it's not like we haven't been doing anything. Moving forward, I get to do the thing that I've done with integrity in the past, right? Run the election and run a campaign at the same time. I wasn't too successful in 2020 at one of those, but the election went really well. In 2024, while I wasn't on the ballot, we really helped the counties through some really difficult times in the whole state. Remember, we had 15 bomb threats on election day in 2024, and so we had the command and control over communicating with folks and coordinating between law enforcement and responders and investigators and the counties. And now we've had what I would argue is a very, very successful primary election.
Said a couple little hitches, but nothing major.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are always going to happen. We had a minor printer issue in one of the vote locations in Maricopa County and a little bit of a networking snafu. I think it was 10 or 15, 20-minute delay there. There was some flooding up in Navajo County. We always have to deal with the weather. Yeah. But I remember one time when I was the county recorder, we had rented out a golf school to use as a polling location, and the owner of the golf school locked out the golf school the night before.
Wow.
All our ballots, all of our equipment, everything was locked in. And I was threatening to go down there with a sledgehammer to open it up, but Sheriff Penzone at the time, he said no. So look, when you're an election administrator, the church lady might not show up with the keys on time. Things happen.
Which a lot of people don't even understand. You think you're going into these big complexes that are set up for this. This is something that is only used once every 2 years or 4 years, correct?
Yeah, and you know what? We have some of the most amazing partners. I remember real well working with former chair of the Board of Supervisors, Denny Barney, who's a good friend of mine. We had our political battles occasionally, but he was instrumental in getting the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to open up many of their temples across Maricopa County. So this is like everybody, all hands on deck on the election administration side. Even in Maricopa County, the Board of Supervisors, after we got a new law in Arizona to help process things quicker, I'm sure we'll talk about that, they put the money forward so we could get the resources. They're going to have folks working all through the night into a third shift, which we wanted. I think Stephen Richer also wanted when he was recorder. Now they have the funds to do it. So we might even see quicker results. Again, you'll see politicians sometimes bickering at the top out there in the open, but really when it comes down to it, it is those professionals on the ground, the folks at the polling places and the vote centers, the retired teachers, the veterans, temporary workers, seasonal workers. They're the ones that take care of our democracy. They're the ones that take care of our elections. They're the ones that we've been trying to protect from the rumors and innuendos and lies. So it is a team effort, and I'm really proud of the work that the entire election family in Arizona did tonight.
All right, let's talk about your race, Alexander Colladin. You're facing him now that you know that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, here's a guy who was sanctioned, by the Supreme Court for lying to the court. He was also forced to take remedial ethics classes because of this. He's pro-pipe bomb. He's
pro-pipe bomb.
Oh, yeah. Look at his record. And this will come out during the campaign. I don't want to kind of do too many spoilers here, but at the end of the day, you've got a guy here who wants to kill ballot by mail. He is on record repeatedly saying that he wants to force Arizona voters to stand in line. Now, let's look at that for a second.
Yeah, and I know how
you
popular
vote by
it is
mail.
here.
I
really do enjoy voting by mail.
And he wants to kill it. This is not someone who we want running our elections. I'm sure they already called my race too. So since we're in campaign mode, I will tell you, if you want to vote by mail in Arizona, you're going to vote to reelect me, not Alexander Colladin.
All right. And let's talk about something that I think is really interesting. The whole time I've been here, over 30 years, we've never had a lieutenant governor. And so all of a sudden now...
you have one sitting here.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, how do you think that's going to impact the governor's race here? It looks like it may be Andy Biggs.
Yeah, just so we're clear, we do have a lieutenant governor. It's the Secretary of State. We've seen that succession happen many times in this state. And if, God forbid, anything had happened to Governor Hobbs while I was the secretary during this term, I would have become the governor. But now we're going to have a lieutenant governor. The voters decided a little bit back that the governor will pick a running mate, and those two will run as a ticket. and they will move forward.
Which is interesting, like a president, vice president. So,
That's
and
exactly right.
that person theoretically could affect the ticket, right? Or is it,
Oh, and they should affect the ticket. I mean, you're talking about two candidates that are very different. You know, you've got someone who's really kind of held steady, and then you've got a guy who wanted to overthrow an election in January 6th in the form of Andy Biggs. Who they pick is going to help define who they are as a leader. And I think it's really important that we look to the lieutenant governor picks to see how they're going to help the campaign, and then ultimately how they're going to help these folks govern the state on behalf of all of us. So I think judgment, temperament are going to be more important in my view than just sort of popularity. But there is, there's always that fundraising aspect. There's a lot of these other things that are going to have to be taken into account. And we're all just kind of on pins and needles waiting to see who these two folks are going to pick. That should happen soon. There's a particular deadline that we have to have it by because we got to put their names on the ballot.
Right.
So we'll be seeing that as these campaigns make their decisions and move forward.
Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Good luck to you coming up in November.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mark.